Brazil, and he's teaching, and we're learning here today. Could you ask the master what is the difference between capoeira and other martial arts?
Mestre Camisa, qual é a diferença entre a capoeira e os outros artes marciais?
A diferença básica é que a capoeira tem música, né? E é uma arte de contra-ataque, é uma arte de defesa. E o que caracteriza bem a capoeira é que ela não faz força na defesa.
Tá.
A força sempre no ataque.
Okay, he said that the main difference, the capoeira has music. There's a very important difference. It's a big difference to us. Then he said that also capoeira is don't use, what makes good capoeira is that you never use force against your attacker. It's basically an art counter-attacking. You get out of the way and use all your force to counterattack. You don't waste any force. All your power is directed on the hit. Everything is to get inside and hit without using any force.
What black African culture helped add to the founding force of capoeira?
Olha, a capoeira surgiu com os negros, né? Desenvolvido no Brasil, pelos escravos africanos no Brasil. A principal característica da cultura negra dentro da capoeira é o swing, o molejo, a improvisação, a criatividade, que é uma coisa nata do negro. Isso é a grande contribuição. O improviso, o swing, essa coisa que existe na cultura negra.
He said that that capoeira comes from that, and that what came from that force that birthed capoeira was from the black African culture was the swing, the softness, the suppleness of the body, the movements, the intricacies of it's not rigid. It's very, you have this whole thing going on. You can see it in dance.
Flowing movement.
Yeah, flowing movement. And this, he said, is born of the black African culture. And this was the major contribution this was the major factor in what created capoeira.
What is in a capoeirista that is different from everyone else?
O mestre ele perguntou qual é lá dentro de capoeirista que é diferente de outras artes marciais, né? Qual é?
Olha, essa força, esse espírito, essa energia, ela, da própria história da capoeira, é símbolo de liberdade, é uma coisa assim, você pôr para fora o que você sente através da música, da própria história da capoeira, fortalece o espírito do capoeirista. E, acima de tudo, ele não é só um lutador, ele é um artista. Ele canta, ele luta, ele dança, ele interpreta, e tudo essa emoção que existe através do canto, do ritmo, da música. Muito forte.
He said it all comes from the history of capoeira. Capoeira is an art that was born in liberation. It was used to fight, to liberate, to free the slaves. It's something. It's like a vision. You know what I mean? It's something that you have. It's inside you. It's like a sweet pain. It's there. And he said, you can see it in the songs. You can see it in the dance. You can see it in the fight. And for this to translate, for someone to really have this energy and feel it in music, you have to be able to be a dancer, be a poet, be an artist. You have to have this energy that goes beyond the normal, beyond just, okay, I fight. You can't just be a fighter. You have to go beyond that.
John, tell us a little bit about the history of capoeira.
The history of capoeira is fascinating, and it parallels karate so closely as to be mind-boggling. Karate coming from China to Okinawa and Japan for 500 years, while capoeira came from Africa to Brazil in that same period of time by oppressed people, slaves, instead of the Okinawan peasants. But the same as the peasants could not have weapons and had to use hand-to-hand, then the slaves, in that time the African populations, had to use their hands against each other or overseers out in the bushes. In the 1920s, when Funakoshi was codifying karate, a man named Bimba Machado was doing the same thing for capoeira in Brazil, where Japan is eastern and cool, though capoeira is very western and warm. And you can hear in the background the difference so clearly put. In the singing, which is the heart and the spirit, you know, the soul of capoeira. But we find that in about the 1600s, the slave population that was being brought over was also being freed because of a Dutch invasion of Brazil. So while there's warfare going on, they were escaping to quilombos, and that would be the villages out in the mountains, the most famous of which was Palmares. And it stood for 100 years as the only African nation in the Western world. And in that time, capoeira was developed as a way to hold their pride, hold their spirit, and their fight for freedom. And today it continues inside ourselves the same way. Speaking as a third-degree JKA black belt, you know, I understand the martial arts to a small degree.